Good afternoon, everyone. This is Matt over at MilestoneCapitalGrowthPortfolio.com. Today is Wednesday, March 9th, and we've had the greatest 2 days of all time here at in our live chat, and for our members and non-members off our video alerts, and of course, off our live trading in the chat room. All right, a couple of footnotes, real quick. Tomorrow, I will be live in the chat room, and it'll be at 9 a.m. and I will be going over anything that's moving, great setups, answer any questions that anybody has, and then do some live trading after that with everybody, so we can see how to use some of these indicators. All right, I got a lot to cover tonight. Tomorrow night at 7:30, Ray will be doing a roundtable in the chat room for charting. So hope to see everybody there. If you're not a member, come on in. It'll be well worth it. It's $500 one-time fee, and I could tell you we had 10 members sign up in the last 2 days, and probably 20 members in the last week or so. So these guys have already made their money back in these last couple of days here on different setups. So, it's well worth the trip. All right, let's get right to it. I have a lot of stocks I want to cover. I'm going to recap a lot from yesterday's, and then a couple others that were alerted today. All right, the SPY, as I said, we call in the live chat room was the break of the 50-day moving average, and as it was holding here, we collected this one, and we're still holding here. So yes, a very lucrative trade so far. The options are doing very, very well. If you notice, the money chalk and flow is starting to kick back up to the upside. Relative strength index is only at 48, so we have plenty more room for the upside here. We did break the middle Bollinger Band, so I do expect this to go higher again. So we could come up and, if you want to run a trend line off the top of this one to this one, we could make a new high and come up to the 190. So that's the way it looks right now. It's a beautiful setup right here. So, all right, let's take a look at Facebook. Why Facebook? Because we wanted the gap close, like I told you, and we needed to capture calls here and start collecting. So we start collecting over here because the gap filled, very oversold. It was a beautiful ride to the downside, made huge money. Now we're making huge money on to the upside. It's that simple. Yes, it is that simple. Chalk and money flow is fantastic, starting to come back into it. Relative strength index is at 40, coming off the bottom beautifully. We're about to break the middle Bollinger Band and come up and test this 50-day moving average at 65. So with this big candle here, we're running right now. We're running for $6 or $7 up to the upside. All right, Netflix. If you were shaken out today, I'm sorry to hear that, because we are going higher. All right, buyers stepped in after we pulled back a little bit today. But if you hold your ground. You'll be nice and rich. But anyway, we are still oversold. Money chalk and flow is starting to come. Chalk and money flow is money coming back into it. Bounced off the 200-day moving average, filled this gap like I said we were going to do. It was a beautiful ride down, huge gains. Now we're going to ride it back up to the upside, like I said in yesterday's video. Look at 375 for our first stop. This is a beautiful candle, and we are just going to head north. Okay, this is a great bounce on Netflix. PCLN, probably our biggest winner, 500% plus to the upside, and just a grand move, just huge. We started at the puts up here, we rode it all the way to the downside. There's a certain stocks that we follow all the time because they're very lucrative in the options department, so we like to catch those. So what we did is, again, we had a little gap down here on PCLN, and we rode it down to this gap to be filled. The gap was filled. It was oversold. Get rid of that. It was oversold with the relative strength index about 30-ish, and now it's starting to turn to the upside. Chalk and money flow, there's money starting to come into it a little bit. We did come up today, hardcore move. Okay, we're about $65 off the low here, so our options 400, 500, 600%, all in that area. We are at the middle Bollinger Band right now, so tomorrow's going to be a huge day for PCL, and if we can get some legs on this and we break this downtrend line, then you're going to see a break of the 50-day moving average and start reversing to the upside, and that'll be the first time in a while that it's done this. So, keep a close eye on this tomorrow. Most of our members are still holding their calls. Probably peeled a little bit off, and because it was making good money. All right, Google I did last night, GOG. Sorry about that. The correction is GOGL. Had a nice move. Okay, so we had a nice move from this hammer here, still moving to the upside, pulled down a little bit today, and then recaptured that and started heading up to the upside. Same thing with PCLN. You have that downtrend line right here. So does Google. All right, so they both have the downtrend line, but you have the middle Bollinger Band, which is a 20 moving 20-day moving average to break, and then come up to the 50 and test that. But it seems like it's starting to move to the upside. There's money starting to come back into it, as you can see here, and your relative strength index is at 36. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, APC. We've been talking about this when it was on the videos. Okay, so it still has its double bottom and is moving higher. Look for it to continue. There's no reason why it shouldn't. The relative strength index is a little bit high. Money did come out of it. Money's starting to come back into it. Be a little bit cautious of this one. I don't know where it's going to go. Your relative strength is pretty high. I'm not going to look at a weekly or a monthly on this right now, but I'll handle it tomorrow in the chat room if you're going to be there. Another alert that was on the video, MU. Coming off the bottom here, and now we're up here, and I said we're going to come up and test this middle Bollinger Band. All similar charts. They all look the same, except for this one has relative strength index of 41, and nice turn here. So on the chalk and money flow. So MU should continue north. FSLR. They had a little bit of a pullback this morning, but that didn't shake anybody out. As I said, we're going to come up and test this double top over here, and sure enough we did. So we have the double top. One thing I really like is this body closed above this body, so now we're going to start getting a little more bullish to the upside. Okay, relative strength index is at 55, and you have a nice little swing on your chalk and money flow. So that one's still holding together nice. SCTY. Okay, SCTY, beautiful off the 200-day moving average double bottom. It's still going up. Relative strength index is not even at 30 yet, so plenty of room to move to the upside. And look for this one to get a nice continuation up to the 64 area. All right, WCC, let's check this one out. WDC, dropped down really nice today, shook a lot of people out, but it all depends where it closed, and that's your concern, okay? So now that we closed above this candle here, the body of this candle, look for this one to go higher. Like I said, I'd like to get it up to the 94, which I think it can do. So keep an eye on Western Digital. I like the way that one still looks. LNKD, we are up $17 plus from where it was alerted. Okay, so we've loaded up on the calls. Relative strength index on the daily still at 32. Money is coming into it, and look for us to get even up to 184. A few 100% on all of these we are for options. So that's probably the biggest 2 days we've had in quite some time, a couple weeks anyway. 197 looks like the 50-day moving average for LinkedIn. Watch these downtrend lines. Okay, draw these lines across the top. I'm not going to do it on this because I have a few more to cover. I'll do it tomorrow in the chat room. But watch your trend lines. Trend lines are going to be key now that we're starting to bounce. But your relative strength index is at 32 and has plenty of room to move to the upside. All right, a new one, data. We alerted this one this morning on the 200-day break to grab this one, and that one's. I think somebody's up about $6,000 on this one already. He's crazy, but anyway, is what it is. Looks like 78.35. Looks like the next stop for this one. Again, it's going to come in line with a downtrend line. If these downtrend lines on all these are broken, okay, these stocks could really start moving to the upside. Okay, so keep an eye on that. Your relative strength index is 28, plenty of room to move to the upside, and your chalk and money flow has turned also. WTW, we've been talking about this one for a little while. Okay, the consolidation box, and it's getting ready to break out of the consolidation box now. Okay, so this was the initial entry here, holding long-term calls. Now we have the box to break out of, the 50-day moving average, and our target is this gap close at 29. Okay, relative strength index is at 60, and money started coming back into it. So keep an eye on Weight Watchers. It has a couple gaps that needs to get filled. There's another one way up here, right around 30. Oops, sorry, hold on one second. See right here, nice gap right at 38. Okay, I'm not saying it's going to do it, not yet anyway. Let's do one step at a time. Okay, I'd like to see this gap close first and come up and tackle the 200-day moving average, then consolidate for quite some time, and then move up again. Okay, that's the potential there. EXC. EXC, this was a puts call by one of the members who wanted me to go over this one. You have the double top in place, came down, the body has closed below this body in this candle, so it looks like it heads lower. I think in the longer term, meaning about 30 days or so, you look for this gap fill to take place. Okay, right around 31, could be sooner, but it didn't play along today, and it has pulled down a little bit, and it looks like it's going to drop a little bit more. Your relative strength index is really high, and money is starting to come out of it. So great call here. This is just the beginning for this one. FANG is another one. FANG is just walking to the upside, looks really good here, staying above the middle Bollinger Band, 20-day moving average, and is just trucking onto the upside. You have a double top right here. That's going to be some resistance. As you can see, that's why you have a hammer in place. It did stop it, so it's going to need some volume to pop it and come up and test this over here. The relative strength index is at 57, plenty of room for more upside, and you also have a little bit of money coming into it, so keep an eye on that one. BWP. BWP has broken out a consolidation box. We've been talking about this one for quite some time. This is a beautiful setup right here. Okay, if we can get this going. Okay, we got a little bit of resistance right here. Let's get rid of that one. I don't need that one anymore. Okay, now we have the 50-day moving average. The only stop for this one would be 14.99. After we break this one here, it's going to be which is this candle here, a little bit of resistance because of that candle. After that, we have a free ride to 24. Okay. It's that simple. It's a free ride to the upside unless news changes it. But there's no reason. It had a huge accumulation period after this massive drop. After it accumulated, it said it's bottom here. This is the bottom here. It's not going any lower, so let's start buying. And if there's no more sellers and buyers are stepping in, then it just has one way to go, and that's up. Okay, we teach you all this stuff in the live chat, so join us every day. Member base is growing huge. Some serious talent in the chat room. All right, now let's take a look at YOI. Why? Because this is a very lucrative trade, up 200% right now on the options that were called, and there's many more percents to come. It looks like we have this double bottom in place where this one was called here outside, very oversold position. Now it's starting to move to the upside. Money's coming back into it. Closed above the 50-day moving average, which we thought it was going to do. We just have this middle bully to break right now, and then to keep an eye on the downtrend line. Make sure you draw your downtrend lines from your highest point to your next highest candle, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's what you want to work with. And these will be heavy resistance in this area. Okay, it'll definitely be heavy resistance. They're also considered pivot points that if you look on the regular stock charts. I don't have the pivot points on this one, but I also go over that in the chat room throughout the day. So if you're in there, you're going to be able to manage your positions much better, your entries and your exits. You'll learn over time anyway. All right, so this one here, if we can get a break of this on heavy volume without the relative strength index being too high, then it's going to reverse the trend and start moving to the upside. So the next few days are going to be very important for a lot of these stocks that you want to make sure of. We're still in a downtrend pattern. Okay, since the top and if we don't break these uptrend lines, okay, on heavy volume, then these trend lines will be your signal to reverse. All right, so you want to reverse and go into puts. All right, if they don't hold above it. And if they do hold above it, then that's where you continue to hold your calls. So if you're holding the calls from down here, you can at least ride up here, unless you keep your stops in place. So manage your trade properly. Join us every day. 35 plus people in there. There's probably going to be about 45 tomorrow. We're growing very fast. So $500 get you a lifetime membership. You get videos daily, nightly. You get market commentary throughout the day, and anything that's moving, we're going to get it. So stocks, options, you name it, we're on it. All right, everyone, have yourself a great night. This is Matt over at MilestoneCapitalGrowthPortfolio.com. We will see you tomorrow in live chat. Have a great night.